Greetings and welcome to Hexed Countered. I'm Joe. In this video, we are going to be taking a look at the latest from Gregory M. Smith and Compass Games. That is British Tank Ace 1940 to 1945. It is a solitaire tank combat game, as you can see right there, and is, I guess, somewhat of a sequel to the American Tank Ace game that came out a couple of years ago. And so let's take a quick look at the side or rear, I should say, of the box here. Okay, so this is a quick look at the back of the box. I am not going to read everything. Complexity, 4 out of 10, fairly medium. Time scale is semi-abstract. You get individual missions, 8 per month. Map scale is also abstract. Unit scale, individual tanks, crewmen, enemy vehicles, anti-tank guns, and ammo. 1 or more players. It is designed for solitaire play. Average time to play is 10 to 15 minutes for a single mission or 4 to 5 hours for a full career. It is recommended for ages 14 and up. Inside, we're going to find 2.5 sheets of 9/16" counters, 11 tank display mats that are double-sided for 22 different tank models total, 11 player aid cards, double-sided, 3 8.5 by 11" battle boards, 3 operational displays, a rules booklet, 3 mission log sheet pads, 8 sequence of play cards, 1 10-sided and 2 6-sided dice, and of course the box and lid. Let's give you a partial list of some of the tanks right here. Here are our credits, and you can see some of the components as well. Now let's take a look inside the box. Okay, here we go. Open it up. We get our bag of baggies. We have a little piece of, I guess this is a correction for the North Africa battle board. 3 stickers. Okay, nice that they included some of that in there. Then we've got our 3 dice as advertised, 1d10, 2d6. Cards. These are our sequence of play cards, which they have started to add. Gregory Smith has started to add to his games, and they're pretty useful, actually. You've got all the things in here of how you go about playing the game, so that's always a useful thing. Right there on cards. In the bag here, we have some of our written or printed material. Rules of play, which we'll look at in a moment, but we also have these log sheets, and you have one for North Africa, which is really long, or it's stuck to the one after it. Well, maybe it is just that long. Thought it said 3 log sheets. Italy. Okay, so Italy is in here, and you can kind of see there that it looks like they may be stuck together. Well, I can see. I don't know if it shows up that well on camera, but there's like a line right there. So anyway, I'll figure that out later. And then, of course, there's Europe as well. And they are double-sided, if you are wondering about that. We have some of our battle boards here. This is the Italy battle board. Get a look there, right? Pretty standard if you have played American Tank Ace. That a lot of this will look, I'm assuming, pretty familiar. This is the Europe. So you have some French-looking countryside here, I suppose, with the hedgerows and so on. And then we have our sequence of play operations map for Europe, single-sided. The sequence of play listed right there quite nicely for us. We have our North Africa. So you can see some of the high points of the North African campaign. Alexandria, El Alamein here. You got Tobruk, nice big bold there with a lot of the battles around in Gazala and the various operations, Battle Axe, Crusader, Brevity, Compass, etc. So there's that. Also has the sequence of play. And we've got another battle board. This is for North Africa, nice and sandy looking. And you probably expect the Italian operations map. So you've got Husky down here, which of course is Sicily, Slapshot. Then you've got the Gustav line, the Gothic line, and Operation Grapeshot. The counter sheets are in plastic. So We'll pull these out here in a moment. Then we've got all of our player aids here, including the cards and the tanks, I'm sure. So we'll look at that as well. Now, there are, of course, the maps. We already kind of saw the maps. This is an abstract map type game. So you have a battle board and you have your operations maps, basically, which we've already seen. I have removed the counters from their bag. So there are 3 sheets, 2 full and a half, or 2.5 sheets, I guess, technically. But you can see here you got your various markers. We've got ammunition here of the various types, from HE to AP and all the other stuff in between and aside and all that good stuff. So machine gun ammo, you've got ranks, you've got your medals, you've got your various, some of your operations. Then you have some tank types here. You can see as well. More tanks over here, right? And some of the skills I'm thinking, if I remember correctly, from American Tank Ace and some of Greg Smith's other games. So this is sheet 1, various markers and so on. Now, there aren't a lot of counters as you would think about them in a regular Hexed Countered game, but a lot of markers that you put on your various player mats or so on, battle board, etc., to kind of keep track of everything. Then you have things that you can capture, I believe, from the enemy, such as iron crosses and knight's crosses and helmets and rations and booze. Then some German enemies here, starting with like Panzer IIIs, 4s. We got some tigers, big cats, and some Nashorns, some pumas, some guns. Then you've got infantry of various types, and various quality as well, including penal. Then you've got some regular Wehrmacht here. Right, and over here, more things for you to acquire. You've got Italian stuff. You've got your markers for your various units, including the Canadians. More operations. These would be Africa, as you can see. Oh, the 88. Smoke, dug in, flamethrowers, all that good stuff. And then here on the 3rd, which is a half sheet, we've got more German tanks, German vehicles here. Then we've got some Italians down here. And infantry, Italian infantry, I'm guessing. Some more Germans down at the bottom. Horrid mud. And that is the counters. Now let's take a look at these player aid and tank type cards. I guess I have to rip this to get it off. Okay, so let's move the box. Here we have a command summary. So these are the different commands, I'm guessing. We'll find out when we look at the rules. Single-sided command summary. Then we have tank mats. So there are 22 of these, I believe. 11, but they're double-sided. Okay, so here you have your M3 Grant, American built. And you can see you've got your turret facing, you've got your positions for your various crew members, whether or not you hold down or open country, various weapons things for ready rack and your ammo for your different guns. Your machine guns are down here. Then you have any kind of extra skills for your various crew members as well. And yeah, that's pretty cool. And on the back, we have the Crusader 3. So the cards are all going to be fairly similar. Obviously, the crew and the various stats of the tanks themselves will be different. And we do have notes and information here on the tanks. So you can see it's got a V12 petrol engine. That would be a V12 gas engine for us Americans. Then we've got the A34 Comet. and it's backed by the Valentine Mark V, the Cruiser Mark IV A13, and it's Sherman 3 on the back. And we have the Sherman 2. And you can see the prestige level required for each vehicle as well. So, for example, the Valentine here has a prestige level of 3. And obviously there are various models of the various tanks. You see it's 2 Sherman 2s. One I'm guessing is for, well, this says available 1042. This one says available 1042. Okay. All right. And we've got the Cruiser Mark II A10. Again, Prestige 1. The Cromwell on the back. High-speed vehicle, +1 for hull-down attempts. Not available in Italy, available 6. 44 plus, so this would be a Europe only. And again, 2-pounder gun, can only fire AP, available at start. So it's one of the more basic tanks, right? You've got the Valentine Mark II here. Prestige level for that guy is only a 2. It's available as of November of 41. On the back, we've got the Sherman 2A with the 76 gun, equal to the U.S. standard M4A 176 medium tank, available July of 44 and later. The Matilda 2, 2-pounder gun, can only fire AP. It's slow, and it tells you it gets a -1 on chart B5. Takes 2 movement actions to attempt to gain hull down status. And that's available in 1940. And we have the Sherman 5C Firefly. The M3 Stuart light tank. This is the Lend-Lease equivalent to the US M3 light tank. 37mm, does not have a ready rack, simply reload as required. Sherman 5, equal to the standard M4A4 medium tank. And we got the Crusader 1 and the Challenger A30. Prestige level 4. This is one of your more advanced tanks. It is not available until August of 44. We have the Crusader 2, Prestige level 2, and the Churchill 7 on the back with the prestige level requirement of 3. I'm thinking these green ones are available in Europe, and the other ones are available in Africa and Italy. Sherman 1 on that side, and the Crusader Mark I A9 on that side. Then we have all the player aid cards. There are a lot of them. So let's go through. Here we have our commander status, which is more of a mat where you track things about your character. So this would be NCO, and then on the other side you have officer. Okay, and now these would be your real ones, and they're kind of in order, but various. They're kind of mixed up in here, I think, to some extent. We have B8 and B9, one for Europe and one for Italy. So you can see that you have the same charts, but they're different based on what theater you're in. Here we have our training card, right? F1, so you go through your training and you can see that you have gunnery training, driver training, and weapons training. Then you have your spare time activities, and these can all give you something. You get one less experience point needed for things like gunnery and eye for terrain and weapons maintenance with these 3. And then down here you can gain a stamina marker, which is expended upon receiving a KIA or severe wound result, with the KIA downgraded to severe wound and severe wound downgraded to a light wound. So you can you run through that at the start of your career. And on the back, you have your war trophies, where you roll your 2d6. And you have Italian trophies and German trophies. And then down here, you've got your W2 trades and your S1 spalling. Okay, up here, now we've got the same kind of thing. You have B1s and B2 and B3. As you can see, 3 different varieties: Europe, North Africa, and Italy. I guess they would be in perhaps this order. Although I think there's a 1940 campaign where you fight in France and Belgium at the beginning of the war. Here is the B8 for North Africa. That was what we saw briefly over here. I'm going to just try to keep these together. And then we have the three A1 versions on one side with the enemy force generation chart for the three different theaters on the back. So if we were to look here, you've got June to September 40, and this is North Africa. Yes, okay, so you start 1940 in North Africa. That makes sense. And it tells you what you're going to get in terms of what you roll for your force generation, for your enemy force when you have an encounter. 2 tanks, 1 recon, 2 infantry, for example. We've got our key over here. So you can encounter tanks, recon vehicles, half-tracks, anti-tank guns, and trucks, as well as infantry. And then down here, you roll for the types, I guess, of the tanks. So these would be your options, the possibilities, I should say, for 40, 41 plus. Your AT guns, recon, and all this other stuff. You've got the Germans down here as well, from 41 and then 42, 43 as well. Okay, and then obviously here, this is the Italian front. So this could run through the end of the war. You have 43 Italy before they dropped out of the war, and then you have the 43, 44, and 45 Germans. Again, the secondary stuff, the tank type, the self-propelled guns, and so on. Same thing for the Germans down here. So you can see you're going to get threes and fours pretty much in 43. Then down here you may get some Panthers or a Tiger even, and so on. And then this is Europe, and you can see it does start in 44. Okay, and it's the same setup there. And on the other side, you have your mission assignment chart. So you're going to roll 2d6, and you're going to come up with one of these. Now, if you know your dice probabilities with 2d6, you know you're going to be clumped. The most likely will be a 7. The second most likely would be a 6 or an 8. So you see that there's attack here, movement to contact, and attack. So good chance you're going to get action when you roll for your mission. There is also a smaller chance you'll get this is a pretty small chance of a refit. Assault and refit down here. That's the least likely to be rolled. You'd have to roll snake eyes or 2 6s, boxcars, I guess. And then you roll for weather as well. So all of that is, as I said, fairly familiar if you played American Tank Ace, which I did. And now here is our rule book. Now, of late, I've done some rules overviews. Well, I've done Barbarossa, Army Group Center, which is kind of the series rules anyway, so it covers everything. And I'm working on Rock of Chickamauga, which will be coming out pretty soon, this week for sure. So I tend to lean towards maybe doing something like that with this. I don't know if it's completely necessary. The game isn't overly complicated. It's given a 4. There are, if it's like American Tank Ace, a lot of little things to remember, because I remember well screwing up some stuff. But we can take a quick spin and look at the sections and so on, and then if I decide to do a deep dive, I will do one. Otherwise, we'll just do gameplay and we'll go over rules as we encounter them during gameplay. So here is our table of contents. So you get your how to play the game after your intro here, right? Here's your object of the game, which is basically you conduct numerous missions as the commander of a British tank crew and accomplish your assigned missions. The success of each mission is reflected by the total number of enemy ground forces destroyed and terrain gained or held depending on the mission. Okay, successful missions may lead to promotion and advancement and the possible award of medals up to the Victoria Cross. And then it goes on about the risks and decisions and all that stuff that you're going to have to make. Okay, and then in our game equipment over here, we've seen all of this stuff already. We've got our tank display mats, right? We've seen those. We saw the various battle boards for the 3 different theaters you can play in. Your ops map, your commander status chart, 2-sided, so you can be an NCO or an officer. Then how you read the markers. So you've got your friendly tanks, and we saw that as well. The rank, okay, and then your medals. And then your crew skills. So you've got gunnery and so on. Armament markers, damage markers. Let me zoom in a little bit. So you've got the damage markers, your crew status, your map markers, your enemy units. That's obviously a Panzer IV. A number in red in the lower left-hand section of the counter indicates it can fire AP rounds, armor piercing, on the main gun AT anti-tank chart with that value for penetration. So this Panzer IV-H can fire, the 7 is pretty high. The 3 numbers in black at the bottom of armored counters represent their armor value for turret front, hull front, and sides in that order. Then you have infantry that comes in several grades with differing morale levels. That's what the ML is, and this one says 4. I know it's probably small for you guys, unless you're watching on a television, maybe. The ML rating is used to determine if an infantry unit actually fires an anti-tank rifle or Panzerfaust, depending on the theater, given the chance. The front is full strength, and the back side of the counter has a yellow stripe to indicate reduced strength. You can see the yellow stripe. Pictured here are the front and back reduced sides of an Italian infantry unit. Then you've got anti-tank guns, right up here, sorry, and the armored cars. Charts and tables, mission log sheet, etc., our game scale, all that stuff. Your parts inventory, we saw that on the back of the box. Then your game setups. So you're going to choose, you must first choose to play either the North Africa game, the Italy game, or the Europe game. So there are 3 different games. And they have different friendly and enemy tanks, operation maps, battle boards, and charts. We did note that as we were looking at the components. And game setup consists of putting your tank commander and crew through the Armored Fighting Vehicle School at Bovington, which we saw, and that's in Rule 4.6. So then you've got your start date based on your theater, the June 40, July 43, or June 44. Those are the starting months for North Africa, Italy, and Europe, respectively. Then you may choose a newer type of tank when it becomes available, but only if you have sufficient prestige level that allows you to use it. And you'll see that prestige level increases with awards and promotions. Your mission log sheet, we'll go through that when we play. Your tank display map or mat sheet, which we looked at already. Our ammo and how you track it, and ready rack and all that stuff is covered in here. Changing your tank, the tank school, major events, 9 major events for North African campaign, 5 for Italy, and 7 for European. Then, and how those work. Here are the list of those 9, 5, and 7. That's what, 21. Your prepare commander status, major theaters, how to win the game, and the various victory levels based on how you do. What happens if you're killed? You posthumously determine your victory level. Then we've got our sequence of play, which is basically determine your mission, set up your battle board. Then you've got infantry and vehicles, combat rounds, Axis counterattacks, check for trophies, awards and experience, and on to the next mission. We also have our sequence of play cards that we saw. It's 8 sequence of play cards. They're not included to replace the rule book, but should be considered a handy reference to keep play on track. So that is, as I mentioned, that's a good mnemonic to have on hand to use for remembering things. So then we have how combat works. And again, I'm not going to go through this in depth. As you can see, there is a lot to it, and that's what I meant when I said there's a lot of little things to remember. But as you play, you'll learn it, and it'll become second nature. But when you're first playing, there is a lot to keep track of. Hull down, buttoned up, frontal and flanking fire, how you spot AT, anti-tank gun spotting restriction, smoke effects, all kinds of stuff in here. Firepower, ratings, and penetration, injury duration and effects. Then you have your wound levels, severe, KIA, stoppages for a gun jam, abandoning your tank, weather, call for fire, crew skills. And then there's an example of play here. Column and a half going over combat procedure example. Then awards, promotion, prestige, and trophies. There's the Victoria Cross. Multiple awards, promotions, your ranks, your prestige points. that you use to get new tanks, among other things. I think. Request a previous crewman's return. Okay, when a crewman was lost to the hospital due to a serious wound, you can spend 2 prestige points to bring him back. Or trophies, and then you got your random events and your optional rules for multiplayer. You've got cooperative and competitive. Increased threat targeting. The combined game, where you can play them, you can do Italy, Europe, or you can do the Med Theater, which would be North Africa and Italy, or North Africa, Europe. Play North Africa, then time jump from May 43 to Europe and finish the war there in 45. All theater, play North Africa, then Italy, but leave Italy no later than May 44 and conclude with the Europe game. So that sounds cool if you can survive long enough. You can and will get killed playing this game, so if you're lucky enough or skilled enough to get through the whole war, kudos to you. I mean, there were obviously men who did that, but you do have a good chance of getting destroyed and KIA. You got designer notes and tank unit notes, British tank notes, and selected bibliography. A rules index, really cool to have this. Very nice to have. And on the back, you've got the sequence of battle. So as combat is the core of the game, as it is for many war games, this is useful. So that, my friends, is British Tank Ace, our first look, and that's going to do it for now. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Don't forget, I now have channel membership, so if you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member, there are 2 tiers. 99 cents gets you tier 1, which is called Hexed, and tier 2 is called Countered. That's $2.99. And it only just started over the weekend, so it's not even been active very long. You can check it out. There's a join button where you can actually watch a video where I explain all the benefits of being a member. So take a look if you're interested. If you're not, no big deal. Hopefully you will still consider liking and sharing and or subscribing if you're already a subscriber, as I always say. And I say it because it's true. I appreciate the support. And yeah. Even if you do none of those things and you're just kind of lurking around, that's cool too. Hopefully you'll come back and check out something else down the road. But for now, that's my spiel and I'm done. So I am Joe. This is Hexed and Countered. And until next time, as I always say, and as I always mean, happy gaming.